podcast. Yes, yes, the doctor, the minister, the prince. Right here on Street Buzz Radio Podcast, baby. How you doing, Vermont? Huh? Yes, yes, good to have you here, man. Let's get concrete, man. Where'd I meet you at? Huh? Tell our listeners, believers, you have a recount where I met you at?
Say again?
I said, where did I meet you at?
Oh, in the X, in the BX, Bronx, on University. Out there doing your thing, I'm out there doing my thing.
Okay.
We made that connection, real recognized real, and we made it real.
No doubt. And at the time, you was what, selling CDs and DVDs? Am I correct?
DVDs, yeah, I was doing that. That was a long time ago, though. Statute limitation ran out on that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a lot of things we done did back then that, hopefully we're not doing them. But one thing in the count, because, I'm not really a TV person. You know what I mean? But every now and then I come pick up a CD or a DVD. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you used to
Pono. You know what I mean?
Couple movies from me and all that. You show support.
Right. And one thing I seen too.
CD was selling your music, and I topped one of those.
Right. I had little CDs. I even gave you a couple of CDs to throw out there just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Real entrepreneur shit.
Yeah, that was all right. That was a good old time. That was a good time. There was a lot of money out there, a lot of activity. The mentality was different. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Definitely. And I even tried to, you know what I mean? Like I said, what real entrepreneurs do. I was like, yo, damn, people buy a lot of DVDs and CDs. How can I get into this, man? And I think you even gave me some on wholesale so I can, because I was seeing, you know what I mean? I was like, shit, let me get into this a little something. You know what I mean? Just to have, you could come to me for, you know what I mean, practically anything, or I'll try to make something happen. That's the entrepreneur businessman in me. But one thing also I seen was the paranoia. A lot of people was into paranoia movies. What's up with that? The paranoia.
Say again?
The paranoia. I seen a lot of people that was into paranoia movies. You know what I mean? What's the deal on the paranoia? What's so good, or
you mean in general, or as far as the movies?
As far as movies, paranoia movies.
Oh yeah. They were definitely into that. That was selling a lot. There was that and horror. Especially a lot of females. A lot of females were definitely more into that.
And what is that? What is that? Like dealing with fear or the paranoia of being caught up in two worlds, or?
Yeah, a little bit of, it was a little bit of all that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I don't know. I just found out weird because a lot of females come to me and say, "Give me the scariest movie you got," or "Give me, the movie with the wackiest movie, the most thriller movie." And then I was like, "And you gonna be in the house scared with your children, right?" You're like that, and they would buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Right.
And they like, "I want to be scared," and I was like, "Why do you want to be scared?" You know what I'm saying? Like that. You're alone. You in the house by yourself. You want to be scared? They're like, "Yup."
And let me ask you, I also seen that at the time you were selling books, right? And at that time, the book that you was presenting was on metaphysics. Now, you know what I mean? Now, as a street brother, walking through, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, damn, I'm very inquisitive because I'm like, yo, damn, this brother's in metaphysics. He knows something that ain't got nothing to do, you know what I mean, with give and take. You know what I mean? What is metaphysics, man? Let our listeners and believers, what's that about? The metaphysics.
Basically, metaphysics is two words, meta and physics. Physics just means, the physical world, the phenomena of the physical world. Matter, things you could touch, things you could see, things you could feel, like wind, different things like that, sun rays, different things. Meta come from the Greek word, means beyond. So it's beyond the physics. What happened is Aristotle, the Greek philosopher Aristotle, wrote like 12 or 13 books on physics.
Okay.
And he started breaking down physics and how it works and how we interact with it, how it's, our bodies are made up, and the sun, moon, stars, and all that. But then he wrote some extra books, and he started talking about the soul and the spirit and consciousness and all that stuff that you can't touch and feel and see. You can feel it, but you can't really see it and measure it. You can't look at it under a microscope. So they started calling that metaphysics, which means beyond physics, beyond the physical world, the physical realm.
Now, how do you get anointed with this type of thing? Like, you know what I mean? Because unlike religion, I would guess, right? Is it a group of people that be in metaphysics, or you know what I mean? How do you get anointed with it, or do somebody put you onto it, or you know what I mean?
No, metaphysics is not really a religion. It's more of a study. It's a science, actually. That's what it is. So, just like biology, some people like biology and they study biology, and then they meet other people that know about biology and they might discuss it, or people might be into psychology and meet other people into psychology and they brainstorm and talk about it. It's the same thing with metaphysics. You know, people learn stuff and have experiences and they talk about it and put it online, or they write books about it. And then other people read those books and they have experience. They write books and it grows and grows. And then a lot of people start saying, listen, I got a lot of have experiences that I can't explain. And because of that, that's how the metaphysics, that's how the world gets more aware of metaphysics. Me personally, I started at a very, very young age.
So explain the metaphysics. So explain the metaphysics.
I've always been inquisitive, like type of dumb dude. I want to know why the sun could just stay up in the sky like that and just sit there. And how come, it's hot like this, this, or that? How come do it like this? And how come females' bodies...
So is it an individual finding? I mean, I know science is an individual find for one individual. You know what I mean? Because like I said, as a businessman, when I seen the book, I was like, yo, listen, how can I get in this? Or how can this, like, whatever the metaphysics is, how can that relate to a person that's in the street? Or how, because I seen it one time on your Facebook Live that you had something dealing with metaphysics and a girl in Harlem that got assaulted by the guys in a liquor store. So how does that relate metaphysics in that situation? I didn't get into the whole conversation, but what does that have to do with metaphysics in that situation, how you explained it?
Because basically, like I said, metaphysics means beyond physics. So it's basically anything that's more than physics. And there's a whole world, just like there's a whole physical world. Like, you go to sleep, you wake up, you eat, you drink, you need water, you need this, you need that, you blink. The same way there's a whole physical world, there's a whole non-physical world that you can't see, and you can feel it, you can interact with it, but you have to be aware of it. And that other world has principles just like the physical world has principles. A lot of us just haven't been trained to see those principles or to interpret those principles.
So you think that they got caught up in the metaphysics and in between worlds, or the spirit, or like...
You can say spirit because people use that terminology. Spirit pretty much means energy. But you can measure a lot of energy. There's just certain levels of energy that basically is energy that you can measure and there's energy that you can't measure. As energy becomes more powerful or more fine, you can't really measure it in a laboratory. You can't really measure it with, any type of scientific equipment. You can only measure it by tapping into it and experiencing it. It's kind of like love. You can't put love under a microscope, but if you feel love, or if you feel,
I only move by the spirit. Right. So I feel you. I feel you.
That connection.
Everything else suppress us. Yes. Yes. So, all right, now, with the metaphysics books, now I see that you're on the mood, to the urban science fiction drama books. What made you get into urban science opposed to, writing just a regular fictional book?
Well, because the books wasn't really selling. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, the metaphysics they wasn't selling. People really didn't want to get into that. People were like, it's cute to talk about it for a minute. People like, I'm not dropping $15 on a book about, my soul and my spirit and my consciousness and all that. They were like, I can go online and get that free on Google.
Wow.
So that's really what kind of happened. And I was like, damn. So, I was like, I put, a lot of work into that. You have no idea the level of intensity that I put into that first book. Like you said, when you was out there, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was selling DVDs, I was selling DVDs to support myself, but I was really selling DVDs to raise the money to publish this book. So I'm out there in the rain, sleet, snow, it's cold,
I give you all, no admiration, because admiration, disappears. I give you all respect, because that's when I want to get to the basis, like, or the concrete of, I'm like, a black man, an author. You get what I'm saying? All I thought was like Frederick Douglass writing, somebody, a black author. What makes, like, you're bringing up your childhood. What made you want to start writing and become an author, and then go to the next level? Because people write, but they don't be like, okay, I'm gonna be an author. I'm gonna get into the books. What was the process?
All right. Well, the motivation for me to actually start writing is, let me start how I started writing first of all. I started writing by writing love letters to females, you know what I'm saying, like back in the days, like, you know, I would read certain, I'm talking about when I was young, 6, 7, 8 years old, reading astrology books and all. I used to always be into the science, just metaphysics. And then I have the moms in the house playing a lot of old school music. And when I would go to Pop's house, he'd play a lot of old school music.
Were they both into science? Were they both into science?
But I loved it.
Were they both into science?
I would listen to the words.
Was your parents both into science?
And I would just write it down. And then I would read it and be like, yo, that's powerful. I want to be able to touch somebody the way this song is touching me. And I would change some of the words around, a lot of the words, the key words and certain things. And I would write love letters and give it to the chicks. And they would react and they'd be like, oh my God. They'd be like all open. So I was like, yo, I realized the power of the written word. So then, you know, and then when you go into the whole biblical study, you know, it says in the beginning was the word. And the word was with God, and the word was God. Then it said, and God said, let this. So I realized the spoken word is very powerful, the word. Okay, with that in mind, I got a little older, you know, I got locked up.
No, I asked you before you get into that, was your parents into science and things of that nature from your childhood?
I mean, reading all that. And I was like, yo, I got a story to tell, I can write. And I started writing.
Okay.
So I would give it to people in the jail and let them read it, and they would love it. You'd be like, it wasn't even finished. It was only like 8 or 9 chapters, and it was like not even halfway done. And people were like, yo, and the whole jail was talking about it. They was like, yo, what's up with the dude so-and-so in the book? And they talking about these people like they real people. And I was like, yo, people really feeling my work like that. And it was the first book I ever really wrote. And I was like, what, 18 years old? You know what I'm saying? 19 years old or whatever. So I'm like, wow.
Were your parents writers? Were they writers? Was that in your genes to be a writer? Like I asked before, was your parents into science and to things of that nature, or that's something that you got onto in your own?
Nah, my mom was a real avid reader. My father was, the pop was a reader, but not as much as the moms. I never knew either of them to really be writers. I don't know anybody in the family that's a writer. Mostly everybody in the family is really readers. So I think that's just something that I was just, you know, tapped into me personally. That's part of the personal destiny.
Did you hang around with people that wrote books, or probably was into publishing? Because, you know, you got to be able to air light, you know what I mean? Especially a black brother coming up, and, you know what I mean? I don't know what conditions you came up under, you know what I mean? But most people that's creative, writing, you know what I mean? We alienate ourselves. Not that we're not social people. We just don't want to deal with the bullshit, you know what I mean? That's about it. But, yeah, so what was the process? I mean, well, coming out of jail was your first book, or when did you publish your first book?
Well, when the book I wrote in jail, I ended up throwing it away. Because, you know, I started getting more into the consciousness and the history. And it was like a real negative book. It wasn't that positive. It was about the streets and, you know, crews pulling down the blocks and drug dealing and extortion and all that. So I was like, I don't want to promote that. So I just threw the book away. Even though people loved it, I threw it away. Then down the line, I started writing it again from the beginning. And I was doing good. And then, you know, I had half of it done. Then I got to the point where I was like, this is, you know, I felt bad again. And I was like, I threw it away. So then I said, you know what, let me write a book. Like years later, I said, let me write a book that I could be proud of. And I could actually finish it. And I don't feel bad about it. And that's when I wrote that first book on metaphysics, you know what I'm saying?
Is that the advanced metaphysics, or it was metaphysics first?
It represents who I am and what I am and what I'm really about.
Was that the first metaphysics books or the advanced metaphysics?
But then, you know, it slowed down.
Was that the advanced, what was the name of the book? Was it the advanced metaphysics or the metaphysics? What was the name of the book?
No. The book that I wrote was advanced metaphysics. You know,
okay.
I invented a science called metaphysics. Meta is M-E-T-A. Medu is M-E-D-U. Medu comes from the ancient Egyptian word, you know, which is basically insight, you know, or an exceptional type of insight. You know, Medu, you know, mean divine words. It really means like Medu Neta means divine words or divine utterance that comes from the Creator. So it's really, remember that spoken word I was talking about?
Yes.
Medu is that spoken word or that divine word, that divine, it's not a word, it's a knowledge. It's a level of knowledge that the Creator holds that we can actually tap into if we get in alignment with the Creator and what the Creator wants for us. So boom, that's the science that I started studying, and I started tapping in, and I made the book more about that. And
How about the
name of the book? The name of the book is called The White Book. So
it's called the what? Is it called the what?
Sound like, you know, some racial stuff or whatever. A lot of white people that want to buy it, they like, why you call it The White Book? You know what I'm saying? They looking at me.
Oh, The White Book.
And black people like, why you call it The White Book? Is it for white people? So it was like a mixed thing. But that's not why I call it The White Book. Because when I was locked up, I said, yo, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna give it an all white cover. I'm gonna put a big black question mark on it. And the name, and that's it.
Can we still get this book? Can our listeners still go reach out for this book? Where can we find this book at?
Repeat that.
Where can we find this book at? The White, right now.
Oh, the website is on Amazon, Amazon.com.
Give us the information, please.
It's on Kindle also. It's on Kindle.
What's the tag for the book? What's the tag for the book?
On Kindle and Amazon.
Let our Street Buzz Radio podcast listeners know. What's the tag for the book on Amazon? Where can we tag to go get this book? What's the key to it?
Oh, okay. This is typing The White Book by Dr. Minister Dr. Period MIN period Vermont Prince DA''MONPRINC no E.
Okay, cool. You hear that, listeners?
But if you just write Vermont Prince, it's not going to come up for some reason.
Now let me ask you: should we call you Doctor? Should we call you Minister? Or should we call you the Prince? I see you wear a lot of purple, man. And purple is being warrior. Is that a part of the? Is that part of the your doctrine too?
Yeah. You know, the people call me Prince, man. You know, they're like, you know, I had the doctor in metaphysics. I did that, the courses and all that. You know, like I said, being locked up, being incarcerated, and all that. So, you know, I'm here. College is here. It's free. Let me get these degrees. And
right.
You know, I wasn't really planning to use it, but I'm just like that. I'm in jail. Let me get this food handler certificate. Let me get this thing in maintenance. Let me get this whatever. I'm here. It's here. I'm free. It's free. You never know when you can use it. So I got these. I came home and I finished, and I got my little degree, and I did an online course and got the degree, and I got a degree in ministerial.
Okay, cool. So you're dealing with the church then? You're dealing with the church and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's good. I did a little research in it because I would have came out here, you know what I mean, and talked to you ass naked. You get what I'm saying? But didn't, you know, I had to define, you know what I mean, what you was talking about as far as the naked truth. And I love it, man. You know what I mean? I love it, man. You get seekers, you get followers, and then you get anointed, man. And you just be doing it, man, giving something back to our peoples, man, not only through the books, but through your spirit. You know what I mean? I love it. And let the people know where they can find you on Facebook, man, for your daily raptures, man, of the naked church, man, of the love science, man. Let them know where they can find you. So when you do, you know, come on live.
Vermont Prince, DA''MON and Prince without the E.
And that's on Facebook as well, no?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. I love it, man. Thanks for coming down on the concrete with us, man. You know, yes, man.
On Instagram also is Vermont Prince on Instagram also. You look me up. You will see me. It'll come on. I'm the only Vermont Prince on Instagram.
Now, before we go, I want to know: are you into conspiracy theory?
Say that one more time.
I said, are you into conspiracy theory? What's your haps on that? On conspiracy theory?
You said, am I into that?
Yeah, are you into that? Or you have any knowledge of it?
I don't know if I'm into it, but, you know, I see certain things and I know they ain't right. And, you know, we from the hood, we know how to spot when something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? You've been in positions like me long enough. You sit in that bullpen, and all of a sudden you get a vibe, and the vibe tell you stand up, and you don't stand up. Next thing you know, you get stomped out by 3 guys. You've learned to trust your instincts.
Right.
You know, or you in the house, you know, something tell you keep your sneakers on, and you glad you kept them on. You learn to follow your instincts. Growing up in the hood, walking around certain places, certain instincts tell you don't do this, don't do that, don't say this, don't say that. And you listen to those instincts and it work out for you, or you don't listen and it don't work out for you. You learn to trust your instincts.
So give me an example of your high pressure situation that you was in.
You look at a lot of stuff.
Can you give me an example of a high pressure situation you was in, Vermont?
4 plus 4 is 1 8. So when things ain't adding up, you gotta ask yourself, why they not adding up?
All right, so give me an example of a high pressure situation you was in that you made it out.
When
Yeah.
So that again.
I said, give me an example of a high pressure situation that you was in. You know what I mean? That you made it out, like you used. You know what I mean? that spirit, that metaphysics, that you know.
Oh, man, well, I give you an easy thing. This is a real easy situation, you know what I'm saying? But when I wrote the first book, right, boom, at the time, I was living in a trap house, you know what I'm saying? Technically, it wasn't a trap house when it started out, but it turned into a trap house.
Okay.
Because the person who owned the house started getting more involved in drugs and certain behaviors and letting drug addicts come in, and it just got a little crazy. So I was like, I need to get up out of here. And I was just like, I'd be laying in the bed, I'll wake up, it'll be an empty house. I wake up, it's like 17 people in the house, drinking, smoking, hanging out, you know, playing all kinds of crazy. I'll be in a tub, there's nobody in the house. I'm sitting there in a hot bath, enjoying myself, listening to music, getting the thoughts together. Next thing I know, I come out the bath and it's like 4 people in the living room. I'm like, how did this happen? When did they get in here? And the person who owns the house is not even in there.
Wow.
I'm like, how did you get in there?
But that's what we do. We turn trap houses into condominiums, man.
Like, listen, I gotta get out of this situation, right?
Right.
So I started sitting down, and then they moved people to the house that had drug habits. So I was like, my stuff, I wasn't getting high. I wasn't messing around. So I don't want them stealing my stuff. I don't want them, getting high. I don't want them to smell. I don't want to wake up and smell crack cocaine. I don't want to, go in the bathroom and find noodles in the sink and stuff like I was finding. So I was, or angel dust. People smoking angel dust and all that.
Wow.
I didn't even know. And I was
So
like,
the
I don't wanna deal with that.
shit.
So I said, I gotta find a way, because I was selling the DVDs at the time. That's why you knew me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, well, part of the time you knew me. But I was like, I need to get out of this situation because I need a way out. I said, I need something, because the DVD thing ain't gonna last forever. I already knew it wasn't gonna last forever. So I was like, at some point, something's gonna, I was getting arrested too much and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I started writing a book. Now, writing a book was so crazy because, like I said, I would be in the living room, what I would do is I would get a piece of paper and write stuff down, whatever I wanted to say. And I'll be sitting at the table, and at the table there's 2 other people, and motherfuckers sitting right there, and they fucking dicing up like using a razor blade to cut crack and smoke crack right there next to me while I'm writing. And people, they talking about they little, crack extra page and shit like that. And I would write something. I would take a piece of paper, stick the paper to the wall, and then I would write something else and stick the paper. That's how I started making chapters. I would just stick all papers all over the living room walls, and I'll just go for one paper and be like, that goes with this, that goes with this, that all over the wall. I would come down, they over there reading and stuff, and they got chocolate on their hands, they touch the paper, they got chocolate on, and I'm like, I start flipping out like, yo, stop touching stuff, and they like, but it's not my house, and the person whose house it was kind of like, yo, these are my guests, don't threaten them, don't do whatever. So, I had to kind of a little bit respect that. But anyway, I'm sitting there writing. It got to the point where I just started going in the hallway to write. And I would sit down, I would write stuff. It was cold, it was winter, and it was a draft in the hallway. So I'd be cold as fuck. The feet are cold, my hands are cold, and I'm sitting there trying to write, and there's a draft in the window, and the hallway is freezing. So I started going to Dunkin' Donuts. I started sitting in Dunkin' Donuts. And I would sit there, I would buy hot chocolate so they'd let me sit there, and I started writing the book. But
what book number was this? This was the first book or the second book?
The first book.
Okay.
The way I write books is like this. I don't just write a book straight through a lot of times. At least not with metaphysics. I write thoughts down, and I figure out, I just put, I write a whole thought out, and I'll put it somewhere, and I'll write another thought, and then I'll mix the pages together where they go. I'll put them in order. So I write it out of order, then I put it in order. But I need to see it to do that. So I would sit there, and I would have all, the counter in Dunkin' Donuts, I would have all the pages laid out. So nobody else could sit down. It's like 3 seats, and I got all of the whole counter. And I kept buying hot chocolate so they could kick me out in hot chocolates. Then when people would open the door to come in, the wind would blow and blow the papers off the counter and all that.
Wow,
So I started taking it down. And, going through. Then I started typing it up. And then, I just, kept doing it. And I kept saying, this is my way out. I said, if I don't want to keep living in this place that I'm living in and being, going through this, going to jail for some of the DVDs and all that, I need this book. And I stuck to it, and I kept doing it every day, hours and hours and hours, changing this and changing that, moving this and moving that, and moving that. And eventually, it was done. I took it, I published it, I ordered 100 copies. When that 100 copies came, boom, the day it came,
I know that feeling.
I went out and I stole about 75 copies.
Wow.
I just went all over the place and I just selling. I don't know, just something like crazy that first day.
Right.
When I made that money, I bought a hotel room. I went and bought a storage unit. I went back, got all my stuff out of there, put it in the storage unit, and I
Go ahead.
never looked
Go
back
ahead,
from
Prince.
there.
That's royal, baby. That's royal. That's royal. That's an example of a precious situation, getting out of a precious situation, man. You know what I mean? Yo, before we go head out, man, we never ending, man. We just going moving on, like you said, to the next chapter, man. Give out, you know what I mean? You got something last to say, man, to our Street Buzz Radio listeners, man? Something you want to say to them?
Yeah. Check me out. My newest book. What I did. Listen, I'm still writing metaphysics, y'all. The book, Base Harbor World Supremacy book series, is the book I got out now. It's a fiction book, but it's based on metaphysics. You know, it's still based on metaphysics. It's a urban sci-fi drama. It's still based on metaphysics. That's the whole point. It's dealing with the future. It's in the year 2044 actually.
Okay.
And the world is totally different. Everything is technology. No more paper money. No more legal paper money. There is purple money that's floating around, but it's illegal. And it's all about future. The guns are futuristic. They don't
bang,
they shoot lasers, and you know, it's self-driving cars and
wow, that's something to check into. Yes,
so
waiting on that.
That's the future that they're in, and it's dealing with metaphysics. You know, they still dealing with energy. All the stuff that I write about in the first 2 books that I wrote, first 3 books, I put it into the 3rd book. But I just put it in a story form so that people be more interested. That's why this book is selling so much, because there's a story around it. There's a whole big story to it. And it's not just knowledge, you know, because people don't want to feel like they paying for something they could go over. You can't get this book, you can't get Base Harbor World Supremacy book series on Google. You can get the knowledge in it on Google, some of it. But you can't get the story on Google. So
you're gonna give them give them the full package, man. To help us buzz forward, then.
You know, it's like you gotta know how to feed people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my thing is, you might cook something, it might be delicious. The person eat it, and they not interested. You put a little seasoning on it, they eat it. Yo, it's delicious now. Sometimes it's just a seasoning that you gotta put on it, and I put the seasoning, which was the story on it, and people might not care about the metaphysics because it's not like preaching metaphysics. It's just in the book. It's just the book is surrounded by metaphysics, but the whole thing is, the characters are doing stuff that people could relate to. They're cheating, they're lying, they're scheming on each other, they're having sex. There's a lot of sex in the book. You know, they're lusting, they're making money, they're going to work. You know, they scamming, they doing stuff that people could relate to every day. They being in families. You know, they trying to get out of bad relationships, so people could relate to the characters and the storyline. If you don't like metaphysics, you still gonna love the book.
Wow, I like that. I like that.
You're going to love the book even more.
Love Science Naked Church, man. I love having you, man. It's not the end, you know what I mean? But it is the last of the Bud Show, you know what I mean? I want to thank our listeners. I hope you heard something, you know what I mean, that will help you to buzz forward, you know what I mean? Until next time, it's the digging! That Street Buzz Radio podcast for you. We brought you the spices with Dr. Minister Vermont, Prince of the Ottoman Institute, Love Science Naked Church. That was a good show, man. That was a good show. Yeah, that's how church was supposed to be, man. In and out, man. Like a party, lottie-dottie. But don't forget about hitting the collection plate. I'll meet y'all on downstairs, man, so we can do some reflection off of some coffee and some cake. It's the digging! Woo, I love it. Church. You love it? Yeah, come on back. Yes. It's the tales, the streets, the chronicles of the game, the fashion, the music, and the culture. It's the inside scoop to keep you in the loop. From the kid from the stoop to the kid with the coupe, to who got the hot hand on the hoop. Swoosh, and putting you on to them virtue DJs that make your hands clap while we on this ever court team, yeah, I mean. From unsigned to the sign of hip-hop and R&B and rap, come to give our listeners the hookup. From hand-to-hand combat, from cellular, hello, from word of mouth. Girl, you know what I heard? From the microphone through the wire out your motherfucking speaker. Ladies, baby girls, cocoa butters, fellas, street niggas, and Street Buzz Radio. let's right into it, shall we?